Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. This is a topic that I didn't know if I wanted to make, but here we are. I just want to put a disclaimer out that I am not trying to fearmonger or spread negativity, but rather we know the truth than to continue to be in the dark about certain things that are happening. So my goal with this video is to warn people about the potential dangers of dark energy beings masquerading as light beings and the manipulation and deception that can occur in the spiritual realm. I want to alert viewers to be cautious and discerning, especially in these times of great change and awakening. There are many levels of consciousness that are available to us. There's talk in the New Age spiritual movement of the Great Awakening in the age of Aquarius and the veil thinning, and that there are galactic beings, etc., who are here to assist humanity in raising consciousness and frequency. A lot of people are coming into information because of the age of Aquarius. The veil is thinning, and people are awakening to their gifts, so people are realizing that they have gifts and stuff like that, which I believe is just people activating or coming into an awareness of their human capacities and intelligence, like intuition, which can seem like psychic abilities. It's, for me, I just feel like it's skills. Honing in on those skills is what I think is happening because of the information that's coming in, so we're able to unlock certain things within our DNA or within our consciousness that allow us to see, hear, feel even deeper into what's happening in this matrix. This is true, but we need to realize that the same way that there is pure light beings truly here to be humanity's ally, they are dark beings coming in to carry out their agenda, or to continue to carry out their agenda, which is to enslave humanity and trap or trick humanity into false karmic debt and continue in this reincarnation cycle. These dark beings are not going to introduce themselves as dark beings wanting to siphon your energy or trick you into enslavement or cause destruction and distraction. They are masquerading as true light beings of the divine. These are intradimensional and interdimensional beings that have lost their consciousness connection to God source and are utilizing humans and other beings as their food source, which is just siphoning life force like parasites to continue to, exist and to survive. And they've been doing this for thousands of years. They do not have access to incarnating to human bodies, so they covet human bodies and they want to take them over or use them in the future. They do not have emotions as humans have, but are highly intelligent and are working on higher mind principles than the human or the systems that have been created that basically make living just hell, like creating poverty consciousness, creating slavery, all these things. They came with all of that stuff in this matrix. So what they do is they go to wounded people who have not integrated their trauma and are looking for something to fill the void, or people who are looking for something outside of themselves to kind of understand what's happening in the world, or people who are lost in terms of the point of existing is, or people who are just spiritual bypassing. And what they do is they attach to them via entities, AI implants, etc. They have sacred technology, or they have really, really advanced technology, which is how they are able to get this far with their agenda to enslave humanity. the old system matrix is not going to fall just like without them fighting. Just because there is new information coming in, or new information, it's not even coming in, new information that has been hidden, the occult, that we are awakening to, doesn't necessarily mean that they are just going to run away and then we're just going to be free as human beings, and we're not going to have things like death systems or systemic racism or even just division. They're not going to do that. The reason why they're not going to do that is because we have been food for them for a very long time. They thrive on dark energy or negative energy, fear. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're just going to let it go. It's not. I think the reason why we are seeing the world the way that it is, with just, it seems like it's just getting worse and worse and worse with pollution and this and this. They are basically fighting tooth and nail. What they're doing is using people who are trauma victims, which, by the way, they create that trauma. They target people as children and traumatize them through various satanic abuse situations, which I'll get to, I guess, in another video if you're interested. But I hope that you can actually get what I'm trying to say. What they are doing now, essentially, with the spiritual new age agenda, which is basically a false system, they stage or create a false awakening or a kundalini awakening, activating their crown and third eye chakra to be able to communicate with them in the guise of light beings like angels and guides. Also, there is an implant or an idea that the victim is the chosen one. This person has been traumatized. They go to certain individuals, or I'm gonna say victims. They go to these victims and they tell them that you are the chosen one. This has been going on forever. These people believe that they're the chosen ones, and they've been through, the trauma and unpleasant life experiences, where leading up to this moment, they discover that they are special in some kind of way than most people or their family, and that they have this grand mission on earth, whether it's to help anchor in these new energies that are coming in, or they are preparing to be a powerful person of influence, or they will finally get the love of their life, and basically life moving forward will be a life of ease, things of that nature. First, the victim gets a high because it seems like they are upgrading and they have all these gifts. So these beings come into this person's energy field, and of course they don't just go for somebody who is high vibing and securing themselves. They go for people who are insecure, hurting, have a lot of trauma or just negative emotions that they're holding on to, and they give them these quote unquote downloads, and they show them synchronicities like numbers, and they stage basically these spiritual events. It's essentially a spiritual psychosis. Suddenly this person is manifesting or giving they give them like this high on life, like a feeling of relief, then leads the victim on a rabbit hole of dark holes. Like, the dark entity controls this person's mind and has about the victim, like memory, desires, their trauma, triggers, archives, and etc., to be able to present what the victim will find enticing. If it's love, money, healing, whatever it is, power. Remember, because of the surge of influx of energy and information, especially on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, time is also manipulated. Some people, time goes fast, and some people, time goes slow, or they loop the victim in what they know is their flavor, or what they know will entice the victim in terms of what will fill the victim's emptiness and unresolved trauma. And for some people who are desperate and lonely, they will use the twin flame, deception, Some people want financial freedom and security, and what they will do is they can lead the person to the manifestation route, or clearing poverty consciousness route, deprogramming consciousness route. And we have all this information on the internet. Bear with me here. I'm going to tie this all together. Some people have been victimized or abused in some way, and so they want power, or they want to feel in control of their lives, and so they will use a trick for that. They come in and they basically attach to the person's mind. It's almost like mind control, or it's an interdimensional manipulation where they control it wherever with like implants. These are energetic implants. Think of this as energy, because if you try and conceptualize it or think of it logically, you're gonna get lost, and you So what the New Age spiritual movement is based on is that one must do shadow work, inner child healing, subconscious deprogramming through various tools or modalities, or raise consciousness, etc., with the byproduct of manifesting desires. The thing is, the trick or the gateway to receiving your desires is that you have to go through this painful or at least uncomfortable period of inner work, where one must face these dark aspects of themselves and come out of the other side. Basically, kind of like the Jesus story, where he, was ostracized, or whatever the Jesus story is, being the chosen one. So that's also a programming that a lot of people know that story, and so when they are being told in the new spiritual age content or whatever, they feel that this resonates. The dark night of the soul is basically what they would also use, which is basically a period of isolation and depression and deep inner healing for ascension. There are many coaches and healers selling courses and healing, such as hypnosis or chakra balancing, to people at this stage. At every stage that a victim is at, there is somebody out there who is also being used and controlled and manipulated by these dark entities. But the thing is, they think that they're doing great work. So I want you to notice this dark night of the soul, or this hermit time period, kind of like a depression. And also they tell people that they need to cut people off who are not of the highest vibration, like family and friends, and because they're not energetically matching them or not matching where they're going. So the person becomes truly isolated and alone with all this confusing information, and these beings basically telling this person what to think and what to do. I'm using inverted commas when I'm saying some of these things, but these readers apparently are tapped into what is happening in the spiritual realm to give people on the path updates. Basically, a lot of the people online who are coming in and saying that they have these spiritual gifts and they can tap into the unconscious or into the ethers and speak to guides or have insights are agents of these dark beings. I'm not saying every single one of them is, of course I'm not, but they are. It's just that they don't know that they are. They think that they are doing the divine's work. They like Jesus and they're spreading information that God is telling them, leading people to 5D or the promised land, or what do you call this thing? Wish fulfillment. With the money that is coming in, the lava, the new reality that is coming in, and what they have to do to get there, like shadow work, inner child work, work on certain chakras to balance, to activate, to raise frequency, to be an energetic match to what is coming. This is basically insinuating that the victim is dirty or wired wrong, or because of the trauma they are not enough, or there is something that is basically blocking them from accessing their desires. But through accepting and undergoing this low vibrational process of alchemy and healing in this dark cave alone, transmuting all this trauma from childhood, all will be well. If you've been on the path, you know what I'm talking about. So it's basically a contract. The minute that this person agrees that actually, yeah, I've been through so much and I need healing, I need to better myself, development, and da 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 da. By accepting that yes, I have trauma and I am not enough, and I have to do all these things, energy healing, or you basically give your power away to these beings to bring up all this life's trauma and negative emotions and feelings to sort through. For example, what they do is they come in to your sphere at a very depressive time, or sometimes even out of nowhere through like a video. It is ambiguous to say out of nowhere, so let me clarify. Entities don't attach to somebody out of nowhere. It happens if maybe someone is drinking alcohol is a spirit, and an entity can just like jump into them, or if they're taking some psychiatric meds, or if they are doing some really low vibrational behaviors, or already in a really negative state, going through a really difficult time, or having sex with somebody who's already attached, whatever, and they give you this epiphany that you are worth so much more and you can have more, but you're not going to have more because you are indoctrinated or traumatized or whatever that happened in your past or in your childhood. Those things need to be cleared out, and you are now going to be part of the 1%, for example, and that's a hook, right, for somebody. And this is when, in this dark night of the soul, they increase or flash more and more of your trauma, and they increase the negative emotions, and then they give you all these like thoughts, right? The thing is, it sounds like your voice. They like suicidal thoughts or negative thoughts that this person is bewitching you, or this person is siphoning your energy, or this person is, what do you call that one? Destiny swapping with you. This person is jealous of you. You need to like get away from them. Like, they give you all these thoughts basically to also be in fear, and you have to be isolated and alone. It's almost like a schizophrenic, but not. It's psychological and also interdimensional. It's so complex. So it's basically a depression, but it differs from person to person. This stage with everything that like the entity that has attached to the victim is giving them, with the flashes of trauma and how bad they feel, how negative they feel so nihilistic. It proves to the individual that they indeed do need some work because of how negative and low vibe they are. But actually, these attached beings are using some kind of psychological manipulation and abuse, and controlling this person's thoughts and feelings, basically implanting these thoughts and feelings. And this person is now undergoing this process of trying to alchemize and change these emotions and feel good about themselves. They play on your insecurities. It's so wild. So it's basically a problem, reaction, solution, narcissistic cycle. Think of it, if you've ever been in a narcissistic abuse relationship, it's basically like that. Because normally how they start is to give you this high, then drop the victim, out of nowhere, and now you feel like crap, and then they breadcrumb with some spiritual event or dream or whatever, and then they hoover the victim back in, and they loop you into the same cycle of heal, purge, cleanse, purify, reward. But it's an energetic game, and what they're doing all this time is just siphoning, eating up the person's energy. So the more that they work on chakras or whatever, this being is basically attached to them, eating this energy up. Some kind of, they thrive on human suffering. The more the victim tries to maintain a positive vibe by spiritual bypassing, avoiding trauma, distracting themselves with love and light content, they siphon the energy. Because at this point, normally people don't actually go to the trauma and resolve it. They spiritual bypass, because in this movement, you're not supposed to necessarily accept negative emotions and thoughts or even realities. If your reality looks bad, it's now your fault that you have manifested this reality, and by paying attention to how bad your reality is, you are regurgitating the reality. You're creating it more and more and more. So it's very confusing. It's very energy demanding to be always running away from negative emotions and thoughts. Like, if you have no food, you have to think about the fact that you have food. You have to visualize that you have food or something like that. Because if you give into the fact that there is lack in your reality, then now you are manifesting more lack into your life. You get what I mean? So it keeps you feeling bad, and you think like there's something wrong with you. These beings are like a psychopathic personality or like an identity profile with a lack of empathy and has no feeling or remorse whatsoever. This is a distraction we see in the world. It's them, but they have covert ways to control, use, and enslave souls who are unsuspecting. The New Age spiritual movement is another way, is a great way that they can trick people who are hungry for love, for community, for something outside of themselves, and have escaped religion, because religion is one matrix that people woke up to, and now they find themselves in this new spiritual. Now more than ever, we need to be conscious of everything and need to use spiritual discernment, because they are corrupting everything on steroids movement, and they are targeting people on all levels. Whatever your flavor is, they will find a way to get you. So discernment and spiritual discernment are essentially skills for navigating life's challenges and making informed decisions that align with one's values, principles, and spiritual path. And those things are within, those things are internal. It's the ability to distinguish between different options and ideas or perspective, and to make wise and informed decisions. And it involves critical thinking, analysis, and evaluation of information to determine what is true, reliable, and in alignment with one's goals and values. This is an internal thing. This requires you to know yourself. It requires you to have your sixth sense on. Spiritual discernment takes this a step further by considering the spiritual implications and consequences of one's decisions. It involves seeking guidance from a higher power, intuition, or inner wisdom to discern what is in alignment with one's spiritual path and values. The soul's journey and the spiritual path is an individual journey, also that is interconnected. The way that information now is being presented to us, and how there are coaches for literally every sector of life, feminine embodiment, and this is all, or is mostly a distraction from actually following your own internal inner navigation and guidance for your life. Because most people don't actually trust themselves, don't actually believe in themselves or their voice. They fall into the trap of seeking information to, one, validate what they're going through, or just plain seeking information to tell them what to do. It's almost like religion, like to tell you how to live your life. People are not comfortable with the idea of having to just create a life that makes significant meaning to them through or via their own internal guiding system and their connection, their pure untethered connection with no middleman to God. And that's why people fall into the trap, because they are scared of being wrong, they're scared of being ostracized, they're scared of being rejected or abandoned. People are just scared. They live in the state of fear because they want to fit in and be accepted. And these beings rely on obviously that's to get people to follow all kinds of stuff and siphon their energy, or derail them, distract them from what is actually true and real. One way that I see that these beings are doing this, and they've been doing for a very long time, by the way, this is it's now just highlighted and just on steroids, is through the twin flame trick or deception, which is why there is such a rise of people reporting being in narcissistic relationships, or being in relationships with psychopaths or things of that nature, when in actuality it's an interdimensional interference. Also, these feminine and masculine wars. The process is you'll meet your twin, quote unquote twin. So what they'll do is they trigger a false Kundalini awakening after like a tough process in the dark, right? And then when you're losing hope, they'll send you a lover. They'll send you someone that feels like is God sent, that is perfect. It's like an intense kind of love that engulfs you and entangles you. I actually learned about this concept, the alien love bite, is a book written by Eve Logan. She's a researcher and author who explores the phenomenon of alien abductions and their impact on human relationships. So the book delves into the idea that some individuals may be experiencing unusual relationships or connections with others that are influenced by non-human entities, such as aliens or other paranormal beings. And it feels like, oh my goodness, like if you've ever been in that kind of situation, you know what I'm talking about. And then suddenly it sucks you dry. It's bizarre. But you meet this person. By the way, narcissists or people with personality disorders are highly entity attached, or that they have been attached or possessed by these beings, and that's why they also don't have any empathy. So what they do is they now get people who are not entity attached and are truly unsuspecting and are looking for love or are looking for whatever, and they now, because you're vibing so low, you attract this low energy person who is entity attached, and this person basically comes and siphons your energy and destroys you. Like you meet this person, and whether they're attached to this person or they are using some tech, AI function or technology, I don't know, but we all know those relationships from hell drain the fuck out of you. So the twin flame movement supports this, right? And breaks the cycle dynamic in, you know, the readings, as the divine masculine or the divine feminine is still awakening and immature, but he loves the divine feminine or masculine very much. You know, you just have to keep being invested emotionally and mentally. Take time to do more inner work and do more dark night of the soul. And when you get to a point where you are 100%, I guess, inside, and you have transmuted all this negative energy, then this person's Kundalini awakening is going to get triggered, and you're going to live happily ever after. Right? And the sexual energy or chemistry in these relationships is so intense. It's so intense because of the hot cold. You know, you 1 minute you guys are okay with this person, and all of a sudden they pull away, they're avoidant, or they dismissive, or they do some really crappy stuff like cheating, and they hurt you in some kind of way. You decide to leave them alone, you know, heal and stuff like that. Then they come back and then they tell you that they've changed or that they have been doing inner work, and then, you know, make up sex, and it's so intense. And that's how these beings are able to exchange energy and siphon the energy by exchanging in that way. These relationships are so draining psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. Like it's basically spiritual psychological abuse, and a way for these beings to get food from human suffering. This kind of thing works as long as individuals keep bypassing their abandonment or rejection wounds, or having the fear of loneliness or lack of self-love and radical acceptance, like in a true way, is what basically keeps these beings able to do this. When people are just insecure and feel empty and are unable to fill themselves with their own love, they become susceptible to these kind of energetic or spiritual abuse from these beings. Another way that they do this is they find people who consider themselves black sheep or outliers, or who were traumatized when they were children in some kind of way, and they give them this special mission to be healers, using promise of building communities, finding soul tribe, or being healers, or basically giving this person hope of what they didn't have when they were growing up, or what they lack currently in their life. It's the same process. They get them into some kind of energy healing modalities that they have created, or that they hijack existing sacred technology. And remember, these beings don't necessarily have control over human beings unless human beings give them the power to control them. They can't necessarily attach to a human being willy-nilly. For example, if somebody drinks alcohol, which is a spirit, that's how they can attach, because the person opens themselves up to being psychic attacked by these beings. Then humans to be able to attach to other humans too, like open up portals or go to an energy healing and consent to them coming into you or coming into your energy field. And they teach people to open portals for other beings, and they do this through like energy and entity transfer through sessions. When these new age spiritual teachers and healers and leaders speak of galactic beings, of archangels, Lumerians, Starseed Federation, I don't think a lot of people know what they're supposed to look like. So when a being comes to you and says, hey, I am your Lumerian grandmother from whatever planet or whatever galaxy, and you've been already brainwashed with all this information, I mean, you get excited because you're like, oh my goodness, this being contacted me, they want to work with me and they're going to upgrade me. It's like wormhole after wormhole. And all the victim is doing is opening themselves up to being possessed and used in what they think is a good cause. These victims are led or lured to other possessed individuals who are higher up, like coaches and healers and teachers and leaders, to balance chakras, to take courses, to activate codes, who implant stuff into them. So people on the internet who are claiming to be workers of light, and they're giving light language, and they're giving all these kind of things. I mean, guys, what happens is where you do get an awakening, and instead of just trusting your process, you're now looking for healers and coaches and whatever to further accelerate this thing, because that's what they say. You need to activate this, you need to do this, you need to do that, and that's how you get yourself open to being attacked, because you want more and more and more, and you're not trusting your own internal guiding system of your own awakening ascension process. So it can start off really honest and true. Because of your free will, you then open yourself up to more and more other things that you don't need. So social media is their number way of operating because they have agents who are creating energy healing videos like subliminals, light language. This just guarantees that the victim will flock there. Another way they do this energy siphoning is through chakras, which they implant, by the way, or they implant things in the chakras that basically drain and siphon your energy. The more work you do, the more they just suck you dry, and they disrupt them through trauma, and the more you try and heal, they just feed in that energy. The game with chakras is that they need constant maintenance and having to call your energy back and having to protect them, having to do this, and this is all stuff that they already said that you must do, and so you do them, and then you just keep on feeding them because there's no other way for them to get food but human energy. There's no one more tired than people who are in the spiritual path trying to align their chakras. They're always tired. They're always telling you that, oh, I'm tired, I've been transmuting stuff, oh, I've been purging and going through this dark night of the soul, and it's very energy consuming. Their actual reality in life is not healthy. I don't if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, just beware then. But I think anyone who resonates with this information will just know. I don't have to keep like explaining how this looks like, because it will resonate. Normally people lose everything that they have built when they have these said awakenings. There's so many videos on YouTube of people saying, people talking about the experience after the Kundalini awakening. That a Kundalini awakening is supposed to strip you of your ego-based things, and when you are in a space in your life where relationships are not going well, you can't keep a job, or you are in a terrible job, when your life is not going well, or when you're not happy, you're gonna be in a low state when you don't have money to do the things that you want. And then there's social media showing influencers and a few people who are actually traveling or whatever, or have money, that makes you feel even more terrible. And then you think you're supposed to be doing all this work to finally get to that state where now you're going to be able to have the car, the money, the boyfriend, girlfriend, so they take away your ability to have money or have these basic needs like money, a job, a relationship, happiness, joy. They take those things away because you have given them power. You have to do all this work, this energetic work, to get to a place where you're gonna get these things back or manifest these things back. And normally people actually don't, or when they do get these things, they're already like high ranking, I guess, if you call it that way. They've already have been working with these entities one-on-one, even like they know that they're doing this work for the dark side, and now they are teaching other people, if you get what I mean. These beings trust in their programming and propaganda that people believe they will one day quantum leap to a reality where they have everything they want after doing all this hard work of healing and transmuting and alchemizing and which is just spiritual bypassing and trauma suppression. Because this also keeps people in a state of ungroundedness, always reaching for something outside of themselves, where they don't actually have energy to live their actual physical lives, grounded in some level of logic and being proactive. They are always on the precipice of manifesting, and they keep them stuck. The point of this video is just me imploring everyone to question everything and question what I'm saying also. What I am saying doesn't have to be true, but rather a tug and a reminder to yourself that we are living in unprecedented times. If you think what we are seeing is wild, take a moment to think what is happening in the unseen realms. We are in a spiritual warfare, and we need to be very conscious. Not everything that shines or glitters is gold. We are all responsible for our own souls. We need to question everything and be protective of our shine, of our light. The beautiful thing about being human is free will, and these dark entities and beings are using that against people by trying to bind people in giving our power away and our souls away, because they can trick people into giving consent and attaching to them because of scarcity, lack mentality, and truly lack of self-love. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it here for now. Like I said, this is not to fearmonger. This is not to spread any negative energy. I'd rather tell people the truth than to, tell people what feels good. I want people to be able to leave this fucking matrix we have to be having a good time living our lives and not giving our energy and power away to some galactic beings who have no interest in humanity. That's the honest truth. They have no intention of helping humanity. Everything that is bad in the world was created by them.